What's going on, Pride Nation, and welcome to the Roundtable, where you all things Detroit Lions. And this is your host for tonight's Roundtable, Mr. Mike. And we have one fun one for you tonight. But before we get into the show, of course, I got to get into the intros. First is the man who, when entering a courtroom, the judge stands up. What up, though, Detroit Drew?
Well, the real Detroit Drew, please stand up. How's it going? Glad to have you guys here rocking with us. And if you're scared to catch the coronavirus, I got one word of advice for you. Put on an Eric Ebron jersey and you won't catch a thing.
That's facts.
I love that.
I'll be here all week. Thank you.
Is the man who can lift up a chair with one hand while sitting in it. What up, though, Jim?
Hey, I didn't know I had that ability, but thank you very much. No, things are going good. All right, I'm glad to be here.
Absolutely. Lastly, when the President of the United States pushes the big red button, our next panelist member's phone ring. What up, though, Luke G?
Man, what up, though? Listen, they better stop pressing it because I can't kill the coronavirus, okay? I'm just one man. I'm just one man, man. Dang.
Hey, get a corona and you can get a virus. Detroit Drew, man, can you do me a favor and do roll call?
Absolutely. Be sure to hit that like button as you guys are coming in, too. If you don't hit the like button, you will 125% get the coronavirus, and you don't want that. But we got a ton of people in the chat. Thank you guys for rocking with us. I see Devin99, Data Boy, John Kapler. If I butcher your names, don't worry. This is my specialty. We got Dolo Dynamite. Funky Nuts, one of my favorite names in the chat. It's always a fun one to say. James Willis, Big Will Mode, Peace and Quiet. Jojo Burns, Kool-Aid and Cornbread, Motor City Thanos, Abdul Terrell, Game Day Express, and Kyle Webb, Blue and Silver Phantom. There's a bunch of you guys still pouring in. Like I said, check out the description. Hit that like button as you guys are coming in. Micro Mike, it is all yours, my man.
All right, man. All right. And now let's get into it. It was reported today. It looks like finally Graham Glasgow will not be a Detroit Lion this upcoming season. We all kind of figured that. But, Jim, what's your thoughts about this news about Graham not coming back?
Well, don't like it at all, number one, because it seems like we continue to get rid of players that are – and I'm not going to say he's great. Let's not get it twisted. But he was solid, and he didn't miss many games. So it just feels like to me that it's another position now of need. And they keep doing this over and over and over again. I've been saying it for quite a while that they keep getting rid of players, showing them the door, and who are we going to replace them with? That's the question.
We can always replace him with Kenny Wiggins, also known as
I knew it was coming.
Yeah.
Officer Wiggins from The Simpsons. Luke, man, what do you think about this? That our guy, Mr. Graham Glasgow, is not coming back.
I'm happy. To me, I don't listen. All I keep hearing from the people who say Patricia is the guy is he got to get his guys in here. I want him to get every guy he wants, and when it still don't work, I don't want no more excuses. But the truth is, with Graham, is I'm at a point now where if my offensive lineman can't move you and run block, I don't really want you. I need somebody who can move you. I don't care if that means turn you, get you off your spot, whatever. He does not do that. And so, yes, does it suck that he's going to leave? For some people, yes. For me, no, because from what I was hearing was that he wanted out a deal, a $10 million a year type of deal. Well, who paid him that? I'm not paying him $10 million a season. Hell, I didn't want to pay $6 million to a 34-year-old. So, I mean, to me, it's necessary. We got to start getting bigger in that interior. It started with Frank Ragnow, and I put two more monsters on the side of him, and it'll make everything easier on the tackles.
Okay. Detroit Drew, man, thoughts of Graham Glasgow taking the long walk out of here?
I'm not shocked by it. People, from what we understand, don't like it here for the majority of the part. Only thing I don't like about it, and it's not like Graham's a Pro Bowler or one of the best offensive linemen in the entire league or anything, but through his tenure here, he's been relatively healthy. I'm looking back at 2016, he played 15 games, only started 11 of them. 2017, started 16, played 16. 2018, played 16, started 16, and then last year started 15, played 15. That's been one of our problems the last few years, is our offensive linemen have been hurt. It's just another hole we have to fill. So I mean, if they find somebody in the draft that they like, if they're looking down in the third or fourth round, they're going to go that way. Cool. If they like somebody in free agency, I got to see what they got to do before I can judge this one too hard.
When it comes to Graham Glasgow, again, I think of the individual that can always show up. He's never injured, and that's a huge plus. But another plus when it came to him is his ability to play center as well as guard. He could be utilized in multiple roles, and that was such a big relief. If Frank Ragnow went down for a play here and there, he could be thrust into that role. However, another issue with this is Joe Dahl. Joe Dahl, to me, is a little lesser than Graham Glasgow, and so that worries me a little bit. But if they can go ahead and secure an individual for the right guard's position in the draft as well as free agency and make it an upgrade, I will be okay with this. Right now, it's an incomplete for me because I don't know what's going to take place. If we get a individual that's less than Graham Glasgow, well, Patricia, you're making the wrong move. Quinn, you're making the wrong move. But again, it's a wait-and-see approach, but it does suck given the fact that he always played. From my opinion, I like that. But if we can get an upgrade, that's always a plus. I always agree with the idea of upgrading the roster, no matter who it is. And if that is an individual that you even like, hey, I'm completely fine with that. But if you're going down, if this ends up being the fact where we got TJ Lang and Larry Warford went to the Saints and becomes a Pro Bowler, that's going to be a little bit frustrating. So we'll have to see in this upcoming season when it comes to Graham Glasgow. Speaking of this situation, Jim, how can we improve this spot, this hole now? Where do we look to fill his roster spot when it comes to the right guard position?
I go Joe Thuney. If we can get him in free agency, I think that's a player that we can plug in right away, and that improves that spot. I'm all for improving a spot, but I don't want to keep putting holes everywhere on the whole team to where we have to continue to build the same things over and over again. But to answer the question, yeah, I would go Joe Thuney.
And now that would be a legit roster upgrade. I think we all can approve of that signing if that occurs. Luke, what say you? How do we improve and fill that hole that Mr. Graham Glasgow is now leaving?
I mean, but is he really leaving a hole? Like the question of any football team should be able to ask, is the player I have there, can I upgrade from him and get the same production or better? I believe that we can get somebody to get you that same production if you just want to do it, and it wouldn't cost you $10 million a season. My goal would be for them to not only address it in free, address it in the draft. They have to. And if you address it in the draft, you get a guy who may be a little bit more hungry, who wants to prove himself and establish a name for himself. It's a little bit more challenging when a guy is already kind of like, oh, I feel like I've arrived, or, oh, I've done what I need to do. And, you don't want that type of person. You want somebody who you can literally say, come in here and be a staple. When a team like the Dallas Cowboys had to figure out, are they moving on from Larry Allen or not, this wasn't a debate. When a team like the Rams got to figure out, are they moving on for Orlando Pace? It's not a debate. I can't find nothing better than that. There's not a hole that he left. Does it leave another spot? Yes, but it also free up money. Money that we don't got to spend $10 million for a guy to be basically a backup or in case of emergency. So to me, this is just more of the same of just basically saying, find those guys in the draft and free agency that can either give you the same for a cheaper price or better for a higher price.
Okay. Detroit Drew, how do we look to fill his shoes in?
Only time will tell. One of the things that's going to suck about it is chemistry. Stafford calls a lot of audibles. He's the last few years he's been given that freedom to change plays at the line of scrimmage. So he might not have been the best person in the league, like I said, but communication is crucial in the NFL, especially on road games. How well is the new guy that Stafford or Bevel doesn't know yet? well, I guess we have to wait to see who they're going to bring in because Bevel might know the guy, but how well is that person going to be able to play with Stafford, learn the playbook and audibles and what all they mean if they're going to switch to a run or a pass or so on and so forth? That's something that you have to do. And I see the draw to getting a bigger, faster, stronger guy, but I really want some intelligent players out there, man. We get a lot of dumb offensive linemen who don't know the snap count or they can't live up to the pressure and false start or just all kinds of dumb stuff like that. So I'll take a different approach and just give me some smart offensive linemen who know where they're supposed to be and when they're supposed to be there.
Mars is landing. You are definitely part of the fam, man. You are Detroit Lions through and through. Get up out of here.
Right, what are you talking about, man? But who? Listen. Mars, Vash, JGB, Funky. I can't believe I can't keep saying this man's name like this. But
First black man on the net.
First black man on the net, man. These are like Lions fans through and through.
Yeah.
I mean, like if there was a coalition of Lions fans, y'all probably started like the Black Panthers or something. I promise you. Like if they was like to say Lions fans assembled, them probably be the first ones running up. Ain't talking about he's not a part of the family. If he don't stop this noise.
Hey, I 100% agree there. When it comes to filling the shoes of Graham Glasgow, I think we could double down in which, in my opinion, would be a fantastic idea. If we can sign a guard like Tooney from the New England Patriots, that would be a fantastic idea, as well as even in my mock draft, I have the Lions taking a guard in the second round, and that requires us a trade back to receive more second-round picks. And I think that would be a fantastic idea. Double down, protect the quarterback, and most importantly, open the holes for a running game. I think that is so important. If we can do that, if we can go ahead and get individuals in there that can upgrade that spot, I am 100% okay with the Graham Glasgow leaving, because we finally did something that is required for us to get W's. Run the football. We need to get the big bodies in there. Let's double down. I have no problem with the Lions doubling down on the trenches, whether it be guard position or the defensive tackle position. I'm perfectly fine with that. You win through the trenches. It's not the sexiest pick in the world. When you hear a guard get taken in the second round, people are not jumping for joys, but I am, because I know what that net result is. The net result is Stafford being possibly more healthy, as well as the hole opening up, and that's how you win football games. So Detroit Lions, let's get the big boys up there. Don't be afraid to take a guard, as well as pick one in free agency to get this line going in the correct direction. And I think that's vitally important for us as a franchise to understand, as a fan base as well.
Yeah, I agree. And I also want to put this out there. If the Lions, I'm putting this out.
Okay, so
the guard position.
Yeah, 100% with you there, Luke. Even though I didn't hear it, I'm just going to agree. But today it was reported that the New England Patriots may look to trade a tight end as well as a wide receiver. Should the Lions consider trading one of ours, whether it be a tight end or a wide receiver? Jim, what say you?
No. Flat out no.
That's why I love
unless you want to trade Jesse James. I'll give him up. That'd be all right.
I'm not even doing that.
No, I wouldn't do any of it.
Okay, expand on that, Luke.
Listen, the thing is this. The Lions need to start running more, two tight end sets, period. They need to start doing it. They need to start utilizing the tight ends. You got them, use them. And my thing is this. What are you going to get for a guy like Jesse James? A 6 from New England? New England is going to get the better end of the deal because they're going to give the least amount to get the guy. Well, we don't know what we have because we don't use them. So let's try using them first and see what we got. They gave more of a chance to Eric Ebron than they did to him. And yes, I know Eric Ebron was a top 10 pick. Don't care. You still got to give the guy the opportunity to play, and they didn't give Jesse James the opportunity to play. So, no, I'm not trading them nothing. If they want this stuff, they can figure it out for themselves. I'm not giving them nothing.
What say you, Detroit Drew? Are you willing to part ways with a tight end or a wide receiver?
I mean, I don't really want to help any other team out, but I'm tired of the whole you scratch my back, I'll scratch your back kind of a relationship we got with the New England Patriots, no, man, they don't. They're about to lose Tom Brady reportedly. Why are we trying to help them out at all? I don't get it. I mean, who else are they going to want? I mean, if the Lions trade away Marvin Jones, I think that's the only like big name realistically that they'll do. They're not going to trade Kenny Galladay. They just signed Danny Amendola. Then if they trade him, they're not going to get a lot in return for him. Marvin Jones, you can get a draft pick or two for him. Probably a second and a third. I mean, I think that's relatively right around his range, depending on how hungry New England will be. I guess it's going to depend if they bring back Tom Brady. You're not going to trade away TJ Hawkinson. And after last season, who's going to give you a lot for Jesse James? Nada. I don't think they'll do anything with any of those players.
I'm going to be the bad guy in disagreement here. I think depending on the compensation, I would think about trading Jesse James. He has done absolutely nothing for us, and not on his part. It was our schematic part. And I'm not talking about trading as of right now. I'm talking about the trade deadline. I think if our team is in a bad position where we simply know we're not going anywhere, I am more than willing to go ahead and, for the right price, get rid of a Jesse James. And if we're doing really bad by the trade deadline and it's just looking like we're going to have one of those seasons like this year, I would even consider trading Marvin Jones Jr. But as of now, right now it's 0-0. I am not willing to trade up some of my assets because I want to see wins as a Lions fan, as well as if I was an individual in the front office. We need to get those wins, and I think that's the most important part. Depending on the asset, though, with Jesse James, if they're wanting a 6th-round pick, no, that's just ridiculous. I would definitely not give it up for that. But if we're talking a 3rd-round pick for him, I would think about it. And if we're near the trade deadline and we're not doing well at all, I would think about it. What say you, Jim? If we're a really bad team near the trade deadline, are you going to start sending away some of our assets?
Well, we got to remember it's Bob Quinn. And if we're doing really bad, I'm losing my job anyway. So what does it really matter? I mean, what is he going to do? Because if we're losing at that point anyway, and you said like that, we're doing really, really bad, then it makes no sense to what are you trading for? You're trading for a future draft pick? You're not going to be here anyway.
Well, that's his thinking. If he knows he's going to be fired, he's going to go back to New England. So he'll trade Stafford for a 7th-round pick. He'll
so you're talking about the double agent. Okay, I got you.
What say you, Luke? If we're doing bad near the trade deadline, are you willing to give up some of these assets, knowing it's probably a rebuild?
No, because I already know that at that point that he won't be permitted to give up any assets. See, here's the problem. If we're doing bad, people are getting fired anyway. So the only thing he can do is pray to God that the interim head coach, Darrell Bevel, who I think would be the interim head coach if Patricia is fired, pray to God that he gets him back on track and he can say, hey, excuse me, he can say, hey, I brought this guy in, and that might save it. But no. He's not even going to be permitted to make no more moves. Like, bro, you leaving anyway. We don't want you touching nothing else.
Yeah,
so that's a smart thinking. Yeah. Hey, we're going to go ahead and trade Matthew Stafford for a 7th-round pick. Kenny Galladay, a compensatory 7th-round pick to New England.
I mean, like, would it be interesting if he was like, hey, listen, I know what y'all are thinking, but I can right this ship if we trade Stafford to New England. Right? Listen. Stay with me. He like, we trade Stafford to New England. And then as soon as they trade Stafford to New England, he'd be like, you know what? I'm resigning. I'm stepping down. And then the Patriots sign him back. That's some prototypical Lion stuff. Like, let the guy make the move. And then he goes to the team like, hey, I told you I can get y'all a quarterback. See, I am the man. See?
The Patriots cheating would definitely go on fire at that point.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
You got a point.
Oh, man. And we would get Dion Lewis. So, hey, I'm with you, though. That would be very bad. And that would be very, very crummy to happen. But when it comes to winning, though, I don't want to see players that I feel that will help us win be traded. Is there any other player, Detroit Drew, on this team that you're willing to trade out?
All I know is if Bob Quinn trades away Stafford to New England for a 7th round draft pick, leaves and goes to New England, I will see him in a steel cage, and he'll catch the hands. But
Get him, Drew.
is there anyone else I would consider trading? I mean, there's a couple people I don't think that with this regime right now, if they are really on the hot seat, that we'll have to worry too much about it, because I think the front office outside of those guys like Martha Ford and the ownership will step in and say, all right, you've been given the opportunity to trade these players. You haven't made a winning football team. I think whenever the new regime comes out, if this doesn't work out, that they'll be given the freedom to. And that's when you'll have to say, oh, snap, Matthew Stafford could actually get traded. Oh, snap, Marvin Jones can actually get traded, or stuff like that, because they'll have to go younger and get some of those older veterans kind of out of there, free them, if you would, and really do that. So for right now, is there anyone that I would trade? I mean, I think we got a pretty talented team. I mean, I wouldn't really say too many people are untouchable. Obviously, I don't want to trade Stafford. I don't want to trade Kenny Galladay. I don't want to trade any of the new young guys we're about to draft, which that doesn't really happen that much in the NFL. But I kind of want to see some development here. I'm not really going to be rushing to do any trades.
Okay. What say you, Jim? Is there any other player on the Lions roster that you'd be willing to give up for some sort of asset? It could be a starter. It could be a non-starter.
No. Does that sound terrible or what? Are you saying there's anybody else that I would trade for an asset or trade for? I want to make
trade away. So Lions get rid of a player for a draft pick.
I wouldn't at this point. Unless, okay, so if you can get, it depends on what you get in compensation, of course. I mean, they want to trade Slay away. I'm not sure if they want to trade Marvin Jones away or not. I had heard that before, but I'm not sure if that's the actual thing that they're going to do. If it were me, I would keep Slay. If it's a win now mandate, I don't understand why we're trading players away for projects, because you're not going to get that high of draft capital for some of the players that we have. You're just not. 4th round for that guy that Denver got, that kills Slay's market right there for me. So, I mean, I'm trying to think of anybody that we could trade. I wouldn't trade Stafford. Marvin Jones, possibly. You know, there's a lot of good wide receivers in the draft, but there again, if it's win now, I don't know. I don't understand what they're doing anyway at this point. But
yeah, right now when it comes to let me see what Jordan just wrote. He says, now if the Lions go out and sign another free agent to replace Glasgow and spend the same cap dollars to make it happen, then it's time to get angry, because at this point the team is, he's just writing down what Jeff Risdon said. And so when it comes to trading, for me, the asset needs to replenish what you're trading away. So if we're talking about trading Darius Slay away and getting a 4th round pick, hell no. Right. I'm not in for that. He's worth to me more on this team than a 4th round pick. 2nd round pick, you got me thinking, 4th round pick, don't even come asking for it. If we're talking about a player that potentially is not going to be on the team, kind of like how last year we traded for David Blau for a 7th round pick. Okay, if it's a 53-ish type player, I'm okay with that. But other than that, when it comes to a Marvin Jones or when it comes to a Jesse James, I want to win now, and I don't want to get rid of these players. I don't want to do that. I want to get the best way to win. And to me, in the system right now, Marvin Jones, he knows the system. Jesse James, he knows the system. Darius Slay, he's the only damn cornerback right now that's worth a whole lot when it comes to his value versus pay on this team. So I don't want to get rid of that for a 4th round pick, but we do need a lot, just like Jake says. Admitting personnel with Glasgow, and that's not going to go over well with the locker room. Yeah, I agree with you, Jordan Cartwright, but at the same time, if we can upgrade the player, I could care less. The locker room's already been mad with all the stuff that we've been doing. I think the trading Diggs really made the locker room upset, and we'll see. We'll see about that for sure. But it is what it is, man. Is there any player, Jim, that you would want to trade for that is considered to be on the trade block of another team that could help us?
Kind of looked into this, and I don't think so, because I don't know. If it's win now, yeah, we're looking for really good players, but what is it going to cost? We're not going to get any better. It's so hard because I'm looking at this long term, and it's hard for me because if I'm Quinn, I got to win now. But if it's me being the GM and I had a little bit of security, I wouldn't do that because I don't want to give up draft capital. It just depends on what the deal would be and for who at this point.
Okay. What say you, Detroit Drew? Is there another player on another team that you covet that you would like the Lions to make a trade for? It could be a lower player. It can be an Ngakoue from the Jacksonville Jaguars.
I mean, that's a tough one. I mean, there's a lot of good defensive players out there in the league. It's just about who's out there, who's available. I mean, if we want to do hypotheticals, I mean, I'll take J.J. Watt or Donald or, I mean, any of the big pass rushers out there. But, I mean, they're not available. I mean, you're not – other organizations aren't like the Lions. You're not going to get their best players for dirt cheap. They're not probably going to give them up at all. They're not going to let them walk. They'll actually pay them unless they're trouble off of the NFL field. So, I mean, I don't think there's too many people out there that are available right now that could come in that would help us. You got to look at similar situations like the Giants when we were able to get Snacks. We got him for a steal. He came in and he played well for that first year until he became, as you and Mr. Luke call him, Snatch Harrison. But for that first half a year, he played really well for us. And maybe down the road, if we're, I don't know, struggling, we're just a couple games above 500 or dead even, maybe some of those teams that are struggling like the Lions, then maybe you can capitalize and get some of those players. But for right now, I don't think too many teams are out there trying to help us out like we've been rumored to help other teams out.
Now, I'm in agreement with Devi99. That's the guy who I think I would at least make a phone call over to trade is Yannick Ngakoue from the Jacksonville Jaguars, the defensive end, the talented defensive end who is not going to be on the team. They literally franchise tagged him to trade him. Right now, the Jacksonville Jaguars in a fire sale. He is young. He is fast. He is consistently getting sacks. I think since he's been in the league, it's consistently 8 sacks or more on a bad team. I would love for him to be on the Detroit Lions team. That would fill a need at the defensive end position. Considering the fact if we trade down from 3 to 5, I think we can pick up a second or two. Throw a second at Jacksonville Jaguars. I think that would be a good compensation to get him. And right there, the defensive line just got upgraded. You have Ngakoue in the opposite of Flowers. We can go ahead in the draft, get another defensive tackle, probably, again, like a Gilmore, and that defensive front is solidified when it comes to the starter position. I think that would be a fantastic move, and I would be making the phone calls because Jacksonville Jaguars are, man, they are already on the clock, not this draft, but the next draft to get their quarterback. They're on a fire sale. Let's try to take advantage of that. Add I wouldn't say elite, but a very, very good defensive end, and it could transform our defense. Considering the fact that quarterbacks have had 7-8 seconds to sit in the pocket and pick apart our defense, if we have a player such as him, the opposite of Trey Flowers, that 7 to 8 seconds could be dropped down to 4 seconds, 3 to 4 seconds. What is our talented secondary going to do? Well, Darius Slay's big play Slay. He's going to get an interception. And when Isaiah Simmons is on the team, he's going to get a turnover. So I think that would be a quality idea to do. I'm not going to overpay for him, though. I'm not going to give up first-round pick. But if we can get him for a second-round pick, I think that would be a good idea for sure. Let's see. There was a linebacker release today, Christian Kirksey. He was released from the Cleveland Browns. Jim, would you take a flyer on him?
No. He played 2 games last year. I mean, it's a perfect move for this team because they absolutely are in love with players that are injury prone. But no, I wouldn't do it. That's just my personal opinion.
Now, if you're unfamiliar who this linebacker is, he's a linebacker that played for the Cleveland Browns. He was very talented. Unfortunately, his best ability was availability, in which he definitely did not have. I think he only played 1 or 2 games last year.
2 games, yeah.
2 games. Yeah, and so to me, when it comes to that, That's extremely scary. I do not want injury-prone players. But then I think about Christian Jones as a linebacker. That scares me as well because he's not good. Would I consider it? I would pass because I don't want the injury-prone at all. I don't want players that has prior injuries. And to me, that is a fear of mine, is you get players such as him, you pay him a decent amount, and he's not on the field.
If we're going to do that, I was going to say, if we're going to do that, we might as well get Ezekiel Ansah back too. He's out there.
Yeah, we'll get him for 2.5 games out of the year.
Well, that's a half a game more than this guy played last year. So,
and that's facts. And unfortunately, we always seem to pick up players with injury history, and I don't want to see that. I want to see players that are going to be on the field. And if that means passing up on a little bit of talent, I am okay with that. Because, again, the best of ability is availability. And he's going to get a decent contract. He's not going to be just getting, some veteran minimum contract. He's going to get a little bit better than that. And I'm unwilling to pay for an individual who's not going to be on the team. Now, Luke, are you back at all? If you are back, I will let you speak. If not, forever hold your peace. And it looks like you're not. So today we got that Tua Tagovailoa has passed his physical. What does that mean for us, Detroit Drew?
Well, what it means for us is that we got 60-some people watching. We're almost at 69. Giggity. What I need you guys to do is hit that like button. I want to see 69 likes before this is all over. 69 is the magical number for those of you guys who don't know. But this is huge for the Detroit Lions because even if we don't take Tua, people do want Tua. Miami,
yes.
The Chargers, if they don't get a quarterback who they want, potentially it might be a surprise one. The Raiders, they don't seem like they want Derek Carr there anymore. So, there's the teams just who are looking to get that franchise quarterback. And, it might turn out Tua is not that guy, but people will want to trade for him. So if the Lions are there at 3, they think that the guy that they want could move down. They could gamble, get a couple extra draft picks and do it. And, maybe they pull an audible. Maybe they go Omaha at the draft day and take Tua at 3. It doesn't really matter to me. They have to get the right guy. But, Tua being medically cleared just opens up a new bag of chips for the Lions, man. This is huge for them. They got so many options. And, draft day, you're going to want to be here on the DSA roundtable for that one as we're going live because even though we've been speculating this since the season's been over, we don't know what the hell is going to happen. Anything could happen at this point in time. It's a wild card draft day. It is much CTV. You're going to want to be here rocking with us because as soon as we find out what's going to happen, you'll be here live. But like I said, this just opens up everything for the Lions, man.
Now, Kirksey, he said it doesn't mean anything for us. Miami is going to trade with the Redskins, and that's why it affects us. Seeing his health report be positive, that's great news. Again, if he goes and trades, Miami Dolphins trade with the Washington Redskins, guess what? More defensive talent is pushed to the Lions at 3. That's a positive. So anytime when it comes to his injury, it's positive news. Regardless, when it comes to Lions not going to take him, but it does affect us, and which is great news because it pushes value to us, and that's what we want to see. Jim, what does it mean to you that Tua is healthy?
It's great news, just like you said, because it opens up a lot of trade possibilities for us. We can get more picks and get this guy we want, especially if Miami decides to trade with us. Everybody thinks that they're going to trade with Washington. Why isn't Washington looking at Chase Young? Or why isn't Washington looking at a quarterback themselves? So I don't know. But there's a scenario that Chase Young falls to us. There's still a trade back in play there if we don't decide to take Chase Young. It just opens up more possibilities for us is what I think.
And more possibilities is always a good thing. And the value of 3 continues to go up, and that's what's good. James Takai says, are you okay with coverage sacks or strictly pressure sacks only? I want to see it not regard to sacks. When it comes to sacks, I think that's a little overrated statistic. I want to see the quarterback pressured, constantly not sitting in the pocket. That's what I want to see. I want to see his rhythm thrown off. If you get to the quarterback and you throw his rhythm off, then you've gotten to his head and you're going to win defensively. But if he's just sitting there, he knows he's not going to take a hit, and I mean, it's going to get to you. And so that's what I prefer. I just want to see the quarterback rattled. I want to see pressure on him and just not sitting there. Luke G, when it comes to Tua and his health, it came back positive. What does that mean to you?
It means nothing. And it don't mean nothing for the Lions, in my opinion, because until he actually sits up there and throw a pass, I don't care what they say. There have been a lot of people in the NFL who were medically cleared to play, but those players know that they have no business being out there. So to me, when he started throwing the ball and people get all hyped off of that, that means everything for the Lions. But until he throw a pass and they can see him flex that hip, turn that hip, cut in and off of that hip, it don't mean nothing. They can medically clear him from here to high hell. That's why a lot of times when trades go off, there's always this idea that, well, let my doctors look at him. Because guess what? That we already know the other team doctor is going to say, yeah, he's clear. He's healthy by your standards. But is he healthy by ours? So to me, it means zero. He has to be able to get out there and throw some passes and show that hip is not a problem. Show that ankle is not a problem. Show that the injuries have been healed. And if he don't do that, it don't mean nothing.
I would like to see the Miami Dolphins general manager get a shiver down his leg when he hears about Tua being happy, whether they trade with the Redskins or the Lions. I just want that shiver because I want the value of the number 3 pick going up. And anything that's positive, anything positive when it comes to Tua is a positive in me. If they would have said, that would have really been bad. That would have not been good at all. So I like to see that he's getting better. Just like you said, though, you want to see him throw the football, move the hip, and get going. Obviously, I don't even know if he's going to do it on his pro day. They're going to be in shorts. So when it comes to him, anyways, they're only going to put him in a position to succeed. So the signs are looking good. Let's just put it that way. Let's talk about Isaiah Simmons. Now, this is interesting because I'm going to get into Isaiah Simmons. I want to say we, but a couple of us on the round table, they got a little frustrated with Mr. Chase Young not wanting to do the combine stuff. It was reported today Isaiah Simmons is not going to work out for his Clemson workout. What does that mean to you, Jim?
It means nothing to me. I've seen all I need to see. I've said it before on the show.
Jim. Talk to him.
I've said it before on here, and Isaiah Simmons is my pick. If he's there, or if I can trade down, I'm not going down too far because I think he's going to be snapped up really quick in this draft. But I have no issue with that.
Okay, Detroit Drew, do you have issue with him not work out on his college pro day?
Well, since we brought up the Simmons topic, Luke, I know you got a big head. I don't want to inflate it, but kudos to you on being like the first DSA member to say to draft this guy. Luke, you have an eye for talent. I'm gonna tell you that because after I seen this dude run the 40, I dropped my phone and said, "That's it. We gotta take this guy."
Yeah, you got to.
The thing that is different between the draft combine and the pro days is in the pro days they're working with their system. And the combine, it's unknown. You don't have your coaches there. You're doing your own thing. They tell you what to do, and you got to do it. I like to see people get outside of their comfort zone because he is going to be coming into a new system, learning a new defense, and having to do stuff like that. I'm not really too concerned with the pro day. Usually it's light work. One of the pro days I remember watching because of all the hype was Baker Mayfield, and he threw a couple bombs down the field, but all in all, it was pretty bland and didn't really do a whole lot for me. I think the combine's more important than that.
Now, when it comes to him working out, before I get to Luke, I didn't care that really Chase Young didn't do it at the NFL draft combine that they had going on in Indianapolis. And I don't care here either. These guys know where they're going. They ain't going too far. They know they're getting drafted very, very soon. The only thing that if they do work out, it's just going to hurt them. It's not going to help them. These guys are guaranteed to go very early in this draft. No need to screw up. If you look what happened to like Murray, the linebacker, he injured himself. I think Okudah hurt his neck. There's no need for these guys to get injured before they get drafted, whether it be Isaiah Simmons or a Chase Young, anyone that's up there, even when it comes to Burrow. These guys, they don't need to work out. There's no need for it. They know they're going early in this draft, and I don't care. What say you, Luke?
Listen, y'all know I do not care about the combine. I can care less about it. But I do understand the importance of the combine. See, what the combine is supposed to do is a number of things. One of them being a uncomfortable environment stress test. It's one thing to be said, oh, you're the best DN, until somebody run before you and they ran faster. It's one thing for somebody to say, oh, this guy, he could play outside linebacker. But that combine gives me a chance to see you in linebacker drills, like you said, not being in your system, not being with your people. So when I hear that Isaiah Simmons is not working out at his pro day, what he basically did was said, go and check my film. You want to know what position I play, defense, check my 40, and then he dropped the mic. Because what he's trying to tell you is this: what more do you want from me? He hit you with the gladiator, are you not entertained? That's why he's not going to work out at this pro day, because he has nothing else to show you. He feel like, okay, I showed you what I get at this point. Either you taking me or you not. Okay, you want to see me run the drills at the linebacker? I did it, and I did it with the best of them. You want to see me running with the safeties? I did it, and I did it with the best of them. I have one of the highest verticals for somebody with my height and my weight. So to me, does it suck that he's not doing it? Yes. But my biggest complaint about Chase not doing it was, where's the ability to want to compete? He came out there and competed. Who he competing with at the Clemson Pro Day? Nobody. As far as I'm concerned, I've seen enough. I'm with Jim. I'm with Drew. I don't seen enough. I seen the film. And to me, this is a no-brainer. He don't got to show me nothing else. All he got to do is show me what number he want. Hopefully 56 or 55. I like double digits. I hope he picked 55 when he become a Lion. But I'm just saying, I don't need to see nothing else from him. I think I got all I need to know from him. And to me, if he don't do it, cool. Now, if he didn't do it at the combine, I would have been disappointed, because I want to kind of see how he responds in that stressful environment. That's why some people don't perform well at the combine, because they're stressed out and they're like, oh my God, that guy ran a 4.2. Oh, I can't beat that. So to me, he has nothing to prove. Bravo to him for saying, you know what, I've shown you what I need you to see. I'm done. Congratulations.
But see, that's why I did not care Chase Young did not participate, because all it can do is hurt him. There is not going to benefit him at all. Now, it was a little it was questionable for me when it comes to Delpit, the safety, because he was not guaranteed to be a top 3 pick. And so it was questionable for him not to play, because it actually could help him. When it came to Chase Young, to me, is like, there's no point, because it can only hurt him. He is stuck where he is not leaving the top 3 picks no matter what.
See, I looked at Chase Young like this. I've said this many times that I would not have Chase Young rushing from a 2-point stance. It's not the same explosion. It's just not. Like his hit in the dirt explosion, totally different than they've been in the 2-point where they're running off the edge. It's not the same. And so to me, I wanted to see him do that, because that was a gripe and a question for me, and it's a gripe and a question for everybody else who's a 3-14. Can you stand up against the quarterback?
Risky says, what if the Redskins draft Simmons? Okay, if they draft Simmons, then you're sitting at 3, and these 2 players are on the board. You got Chase Young and Tua Tagovailoa. There are many teams more than willing to trade to get one of these players, probably Tua, and guess what? A lot of talent has fallen to you, and you're going to get a lot of compensation from a trade. And so it's a win. It's no matter what, the Lions are in a win-win situation. To me, I value many players in this draft to be high-valued blue-chip players. Not just Simmons, but I think there's multiple blue-chip players. But what's good when it comes to the Detroit Lions is we're going to get one of them, plus we're going to be able to get trade value. So, like, it's a win-win. And if they're not wanting to trade, if they just want to take a Simmons, or if they want to take a Chase, or whoever they value, okay, go do it. But right now, no matter what, like, we're in a really good position. So it's going to be extremely hard for us to lose in this draft, or for Bob Quinn to lose. But if he does, boy, if he blows such an opportunity like this, I could tell you what, man, Pride Nation ain't going to take it.
No, and they shouldn't. They shouldn't. The standard should always be high but realistic. And that's always been my complaint with Lions fans. Be upset. But don't be upset when expectations are met. If you thought the Lions were going to be a dumpster fire and they met expectations, what are you mad about? Mm-hmm. See, if you get expectations like I had for them to be an 11-win team and they don't even scratch 6, 5, or 4 wins, yeah, you need to be real upset because there's some problems here. But I'm with you. If he can't get this right, there's no way of getting right. Redskins take Simmons. Will I be sick? Yep, sick to my stomach. However, I also understand this, and I've said this many times. I wouldn't have no problem, even if Chase Young is sitting there. I'm not Chase Young. Isaiah Simmons is sitting there, and we have an opportunity to pick up 3 firsts. So we talking about getting both of Miami's first and the first next year. As much as I love Simmons, I'll pass for those 3 first-round picks.
And what's extremely good about this draft, and I want to let my subscribers know, is you got to understand this draft in the first round, a lot of offensive talent is going to be taken off the board. What does that do for a team that needs defensive talent? It's going to throw a lot of first-round prospects in the second round. Thankfully for us, we have the 3rd pick in the second round. We're going to get talent more than likely that's going to be a first-round pick. And plus, considering the fact there is a really good odds, in my opinion, we're going to trade back and get more picks, whether it be a first round or a second round. There is going to be defensive talent, first-round players on the board for us in the second round because of the quarterbacks that are going to be taken in the first round. There literally could be 5 quarterbacks taken in the first round. There could be 6 wide receivers taken. There could be 5 or 6 offensive linemen taken. There could be 2 running backs taken, probably 1, and that throws a lot of talent, a lot of defensive talent to the Detroit Lions. So Bob Quinn does not have the opportunity to screw this up.
But you know what, Mike? Mike, that brings me back to that point because the draft is deep at certain positions. That's why I'm like $6 million for Danny Amendola. That makes sense to me because I know that you can find it's going to be some receiver who's going to come out in the 3rd to 4th round. We're going to be all talking about and saying that the Lions could have had, and I'm just going to keep reminding people, no, you wanted $6 million Danny Amendola. That's why we didn't go and get that other receiver. So to me, I think you're on to the right points about this draft being deep, and it's just it seemed almost impossible for him to mess this up.
It's an extremely deep draft, and it's deep with offensive weapons, and that is so good for a team that needs defense because it just throws these players to us. Jim, what say you if Isaiah Simmons goes 2, and we have the choice between Chase Young? There's Tua still on the board. What do you do? Do you trade back? Do you take Chase Young? Is there another defensive player that you'd like to get with the trade back? How far you trade back? What is crossing your mind if this scenario does take place?
Number one, I'm listening to the phone because I'm trading out. It's the first thing. If I get a good enough deal, I'm trading out. I'm looking at Derek Brown, trading down for. That would be one of the guys I would like. Depends on how far down you go. Because if you go down far enough, I might think about Okudah, but you have to go down pretty far. At least in my opinion. That's just the way I see the draft. But yeah, definitely. If Isaiah Simmons is not there, I'm trading down.
And to get this Okudah stuff out of there, when it comes to the Detroit Lions, I know a lot of people say, personally, me, that I'd be hating on him, or we as the DSA is hating on him. That's not the case. I truly believe he'll be a great cornerback in this league. It's just, to me, I think they're going to go a different route. And I think if we were to pick Okudah, it would be a trade back scenario, maybe even trading back with the Los Angeles Chargers or something like that. I just don't see us taking Okudah at 3 or even at 5 at that matter.
I mean, but is it hating for you to call something the most obvious thing clear? I mean, think about this. He would be the first cornerback drafted in the top 5. Forget top 5, top 4. He would be the first cornerback drafted in the top 4 since Sean Springs. Did Sean Springs change the way that Seattle played defense? No, he didn't. And he's a very good corner. Yeah. No, he didn't.
Patrick Peterson, same thing. He was 4, wasn't he, overall?
Right. These quarterbacks ain't changing the game. So to me, Darrell Reeves, who I've seen shut down a whole half of a field, wasn't even taken 3rd overall. Charles Woodson was taken 4th. And I'm thinking to myself, You're going to take this guy higher than Charles Woodson, and Charles Woodson is more polished than him. So it's not hating. It's just stating the obvious. Is he better than what the Lions actually need? Why is cornerback a need for the Lions? Y'all don't believe in the Warrior? Okay, cool. You don't believe in the free agent process? Okay, cool. So we gonna draft him, and then what? And then people gonna still run the ball up the gut. People gonna still be able to do it. And the biggest thing for one of the reasons why I want to bring in Isaiah Simmons and why I think he is the pick based on the evidence and the research that I've done is because look at how they utilize Trayvon Wilson and how they use Quandre Diggs. In the box safety, trying to use his best abilities. The same thing they're going to do with Will Harris. Well, guess what? If you put Isaiah Simmons at that in the box safety, Lord help to whoever think they can figure out what's going on. It's not hating when it's got a valid point.
Well, I think part of it is I didn't mean to cut you off, but I think part of it for not taking a corner is the past, I don't know, 5 to 10 years, somewhere around that ballpark, is corners have been a lot more available via trade. I mean, in the last 2 seasons alone, Jalen Ramsey, Marcus Peters, Talib, some of the top corners in the game have all been available via trade, and then Stephon Gilmore becomes a free agent. New England paid him. He's one of the best corners in the league. So, I mean, I just think the market for cornerbacks is available out there if you wanted to go a new route. Plus, if you're willing to give up enough, you could get Darius Slay from us.
Folks, we have another member that joined us when it talks about Detroit Lions. Let's get into the intro. Next is the man who does not tell lies. He simply changes the facts. What up, Doe?
He does not tell lies. He just simply changed the facts. That's
what up, guys, man?
What's going
what up,
on,
Mike?
man?
I love your intros, man. I love it. What up, Luke?
What's going on, man? What's going on?
What's up, everybody? Drew, Jim, everybody in the chat. I'm just
up?
happy to be here, man. Talk about more Lions, man. What's going on?
I seen a question from Kevin, and I want to throw this out here. The compensation. Now, I did this a while ago when it talks to the point system, so I'm just going to go by the point system. If Detroit Lions were to trade with Miami, the Lions would receive obviously the 5th pick. The Lions would also get the second. They could do this. They could get the 2 second-round picks. That would equal up to the 2,200, or they can get the 26th overall pick, and that would be very close. But in my opinion, I think we'll get a little bit more from the point value system because as the draft nears, teams are going to get feisty, and they got a ton of picks. I think they're going to draft or trade up to get their quarterback, and they're going to pay a little bit more than what the point system would be. So I would expect maybe a first-round pick, the 26th overall, and maybe a late second-round pick, 56 overall. So something like that is what I could see. Let's see here. Real. We're talking about many things when it comes to Lions in the draft. And one of the scenario was if Simmons goes number 2, what does the Lions do at 3? What do you think?
Yeah, man, I love these questions, but at the same time, they're just tough because you don't know the full story of what's going on. Like, what are the offers you're getting in the war room? You know, because if I'm getting a good trade down scenario, like a 2 first, if I'm getting 2 first, right off the bat, I'm trading no matter what. But, you know, I know that some of you guys on here, especially Luke, not high on Young, right? But I'm going with Young at 3. If they go with Isaiah Simmons at 2, I'm taking Young at 3.
It's not that I'm not. It's not like I'm not high on Young. It's not that. Right now, nobody has been picked up. Right? Nobody's been picked up. So there has to be a top prospect in this draft for me. For me, it's Isaiah Simmons, especially for the Lions' need. Right? And with Chase Young, there are some flaws in this game that scares me. Particularly the fact that he does not play to his full effort every down. And for somebody to go, man, a lot of players don't do that. Good. I don't want them on this team. Every player who do that, let them stay where the hell they at. I don't want them on this team. So that's the first problem. The second problem is this. Chase Young does not come in and fix anything. So even we had Ndamukong Suh, and Ndamukong Suh instantly came in and fixed some things, but he can only do so much. What he fixed was allowing other people to get free. Who is Chase Young going to allow to get free?
Garrett says, would you take Young if Simmons goes at 3? Well, first, I'm looking for a trade. If that can occur and we get value, would be very happy with taking Chase Young at 3. I think he's going to be a really good player in this league.
I do too. In a 4-3 defense, not this 3-4 that we run, because the position he will be playing will be the same thing that Trey Flowers play. You can't, you wouldn't be able to put him at the other DN spot. You're going to put him in the 2-point stance and rush him from Devin Kennard's side. So to me, again, he's not good rushing out of the 2-point stance. So I'm not killing the dude. I just think he needs some work. He's a very unfinished product, and he's not worthy of the 3rd overall pick.
That's one of the reasons why I like him. That's honestly one of the. Listen, I hear you. I hear a lot of people saying that there are flaws in his game, but that makes him more intriguing to me because then I'm thinking, oh man, like he has these flaws in his game. He's not putting up 100% effort like we want him to. Kind of like Ndamukong Suh was. That was a big slight on his game as well. He wasn't putting 100% effort on every single play.
No.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was.
Real? Who said that? Who said that?
A lot of people. Okay,
Real?
go back to the time when he went to the Dolphins. What was the biggest slight that everybody was saying to him? The biggest slight was that he didn't put 100% effort.
No, the biggest slight on Ndamukong Suh when he came out was that people worried about, which is the same thing that ended up being the case, was that he was overly aggressive. Because he had popped the crap out of Colt McCoy on the sideline in that Texas game. They was like, bro, he was clearly giving up, and he still popped him. That was the biggest slight on him. Everybody wanted Suh. Everybody wants Suh.
Everybody wants Chase Young. Everybody wants Chase Young.
No, everybody don't. That's why you got these experts mocking them with Jeffrey Okudah. They've mocked us with Jeffrey. I've probably seen one mock draft where we got mocked Chase Young.
Yeah, because he's going before us. Because in all of those mock drafts, he's going early. What are you talking about?
Right.
Okay, so what do you mean?
Right. He's going before us in those mock drafts because
everybody wants him.
No, listen, you got to understand. If he goes to the Washington Redskins, that's them for them to figure out. I don't care where he goes before that. I'm only going with what's in the best interest of the Lions. I don't remember seeing one. I'm gonna go and look at it. I don't remember seeing one article said that Ndamukong Suh was lazy or lacked effort.
Go back.
I am. I'm gonna look at that. I don't remember saying that.
I'll send you some.
I heard a lot of that when he was with the Miami Dolphins, not with the Detroit Lions.
That's different.
When he was leaving the line. No, listen. When we were talking about re-signing him, and he wanted to be the highest paid defensive player of all time. Okay, a lot of fans were saying, "Don't do it," because he gives up on plays, and he doesn't put 100% effort on every single play. When he puts 100% effort, he was the most dominant guy in the league. But that was the problem. But
the difference is this though. This the difference, real. The difference is fans were saying that when he was already in the league. I'm saying that for a guy who haven't even touched the league, and a guy who was still in college. A guy who's still in college and didn't even want to compete at the combine with people side by side with him.
Look, man, all I see is 16.5 sacks, didn't play every game in the season. And then on top of that, he has some room for improvement. I'll take that all day long. The one thing that the Lions needed the most was a pass rush. Whether you say it's scheme-wise or personnel-wise, we needed a pass rush. We were giving quarterbacks all day to throw. Their wide receivers were breaking their routes, running wild, and our cornerbacks couldn't hold them. And we allowed a passer rating of over 100. I'm pretty sure quarterbacks that went against us averaged over 100 quarterback rating, and probably a huge percentage. I don't know the actual statistics, but a huge probably completion percentage because they were destroying us, and we needed a pass rush, and that's what that guy provides.
Yeah, but let me ask you this, real. And I know you know your football because you scare me sometimes. You make me work harder, okay? So if anybody ever asks, understand, real makes me work my job harder. Okay, now. How many times did you see them just rush 3? What is he going to do in a 3-man rush?
Listen, let him rush 4. Or how about when Patricia, maybe we don't work out this season and he's fired, then we got Chase Young. We're going to implement a 4-3 defense. Bring back Jim Schwartz.
I'm with that. But guess what? Then next year is going to be another supposedly dominating DN, and I'm just making the point.
At the top of the draft, though, like, I know what you're saying. There's a Jadeveon Clowney, a Myles Garrett, but those guys are always going, or a Joe Bosa, Nick Bosa. Those guys are always going in the top 3. When was the last time we were in the top 3? When we got Ndamukong Kung Su, right? Or I don't even remember in the last.
Yeah, so, I feel like you might be right about that. But I'm just pointing out to you this: if you bring Chase Young in and put him in this 3-4, and listen, I'm the first one to tell you I want to go to a 4-3. I don't have a problem with the 3. I'm lying. I hate the 3-4. Okay, I hate it because I wasn't very good in the 3-4. I was very good in the 4-3, and it's because I knew how to work it. The 3-4 to me it evolved around just being a little bit more fast and stuff like that. And I wasn't like that. But anyway, my problem is this. If they go to a 4-3 this year and they take Chase Young, great. But I don't think they're doing that. And so if they're not going to do that, now my question becomes, why are we going to take him over a guy who not only do I know can play in a 3-4, but I know he can excel in it, and he can excel in the 4-3.
But the question was if Simmons is already gone.
Right.
So your scenario is
if Simmons is gone, you have to trade that pick out. You have to. And if you can't trade
a deal.
If you can't trade that pick out, and I know people not gonna like what I'm about to say. I know they're not gonna like it. If you can't trade that pick out, you better take the best offensive lineman on the board.
Oh well, no way. I will literally drive to Detroit. I would find Bob Quinn and I would kick him square in the nuts if we go offensive lineman with that third pick in this draft.
Okay, I'm going to show you why.
We need to get a defensive player. We need to get help on
the
worst defense that these eyes has ever seen.
Listen, I agree, but I want you to follow me on this. Stay with me.
I don't care.
I don't want to follow.
I don't want to follow.
I'm with you.
It feels like it's a train going off the tracks into an ocean, man.
I am with you. But I want you to pay attention to what the offensive line look like right now. Your starting left tackle is who? Taylor Decker. You gonna go back into the season with Taylor Decker?
Your starting defensive lineman.
Wait a minute.
I will take everything we got on the offensive line right now compared to what our defensive line looks like when we only got Deshaun Hand on the defensive line.
Yeah, but here's the problem that you may be missing. You still got to account for free agency, and you still have a chance to get a quality D tackle in or DN. AJ Epinesa may fall, he may not. There's other DNs in this draft that you can pick up in the second round. There's other D tackles in this draft that I like that you can pick up in this second round. You can still get your defensive guys. What I'm pointing out to you is this. This team, listen, you got to be able to put your hat on one side of the ball. If the guy that you want is not there, I'm telling you, you got to go with the offensive player on the offensive line because guess what? Stafford didn't get a bad back because he was sitting in a clean pocket. He didn't get that.
No, he got it from running into a defender, trying to act like he was a running back or a fullback.
He had that bad back. He had that bad back before he ran into. That's when he re-aggravated it. I'm pointing out to you that right now your starting 3 linemen. Matter of fact, forget the 3. Your starting line right now is literally Taylor Decker, Joe freaking Dow, or no, in this case it'd be Kenny Wiggins on the left, Frank Ragnow, Joe Dow, Rick Wagner. Yeah, I don't care who you throw out there. Jesus, Powerpuff Girls, Superman, they're dying back there.
Royal Kush just dropped a $1.99 super chat. Truly appreciate it, man. You are the MVP this 2 weeks in a row. I really, really appreciate it. He says, let's go DSA. Yes, you named that offensive line, but I'm going to name you the defensive line.
Yeah.
Deshaun Hand.
Yeah.
There we go.
I appreciate it.
That's all the defensive tackles we got.
What about Flowers?
Come on, Mike. You're going to kill me, man. Stop.
Did he leave? Did Flowers leave?
No, he didn't.
Defensive tackle position.
Oh, okay.
We do not have anything under there right now.
No, we don't.
We have got the worst defensive line that I have ever seen this last season. The quarterback was just sitting there the whole time. And if we continue to let this defense or a quarterback sit back there, there is 0% chance of winning. I don't care who is out. You could have literally, again, you could have Darius Slay. You could have Sanders, the cornerback back there. You could have the best elite corners back there. But if you have this defensive line, good God, we are going to get killed again.
I'm with you.
I think there's a different question here. Do we really believe that Patricia and Quinn are going to get it right and we're going to right the ship and all this other stuff for this next season? Because that makes everything that they're doing, it makes it totally different if they're lame duck. Let me put it that way.
James Guy says offensive line is more important than a beast defensive line. I agree, but we don't have a beast defensive line. We have a no defensive line.
And a no offensive line.
But I don't think that's the problem.
Is much better than the defensive line last year.
No, listen.
Oh, no.
Listen, I'm finna show you. I'm finna show you why. You can literally right now, go out in free agency and add another D tackle. We can do that, right? I'm just pointing out to you.
Or a tackle.
Or a guard or a tackle. I'm just pointing out to you right here that if you look at this team, you're going to have to hang your hat on something. If you take Derek Brown, right, or you take Chase Young. Let's say you just say I'm gonna take Chase Young. You take Chase Young next year. Let's say you're picking in the top 10, right? Or matter of fact, forget top 10. Let's say Patricia does well, and now you're picking in the 17 to 20. You still need a lineman. You cannot go in with this offensive line as your line. You just can't do it. So to me, I'm looking at it and I'm saying to myself, why not take the stud offensive lineman versus a guy who I think got questions? See, there are certain people like the tackle from Louisville. I ain't got no questions about what he can do. I've seen the film where he can move you in the run, where he'll shut you down in the pass. And then keep in mind, our offense got to go against somebody else's defense.
If Chase Young is sitting there and we go Mekhi Becton or another offensive lineman there, I am going to flip because that to me would be ridiculous.
Would be a laughing stock.
No, we would be the laughing stock of the NFL because we don't have any resemblance of a defensive line. You have to have a defensive line. You have to have an offensive line. We have an okay offensive line. We have a non-existent defensive line. We literally could have 12 people on the defensive line rushing the passer, and our talent is so damn bad, the quarterback would still have 7 seconds to pass the ball.
Mike, let me ask you a question. Is your videos when you did the live stream still up?
I don't know.
If it is, I want people to go back and watch those videos. And I want you to do 2 things. One, get you something to drink, because you're going to hear the word damn it a whole lot. But you're going to hear the word damn it. You're going to hear the word damn it a whole lot every time the quarterback gets sacked. Because I'm telling you, I put it this way. People can be crazy about it, but what if that left tackle you take is the next Joe Thomas?
What if the defensive end in Chase Young is the next J.J. Watt?
Exactly.
Okay, so listen. That's a good point. Let's say it's the next J.J. Watt versus the best left tackle. What did J.J. Watt do against Joe Thomas?
Dude.
Yeah, I'll wait.
Okay. Oh, my God. Listen, Luke, let me answer this question. Were we not top 5 defense or offense with Stafford healthy, with Stafford playing, okay? Has he not had an injury for how many years, okay? I understand that he's hurt now, so it's easy to say, oh, my God, we need to shore up this line so that he doesn't get hurt again, okay? But even with our backups, we were putting up points. You know what we weren't doing? Stopping the other team from putting up points. You know why? Because we didn't have a damn pass rush, man.
Well, that wasn't because we didn't have a pass rush.
And Driscoll. Okay.
We weren't running the ball either.
When Bo Starkville came in, we were running much better.
Exactly. What do you guys are we watching? I can't even believe we're having this conversation.
So how many yards did Bo Starkville get?
He was averaging 5.2 yards a carry.
Exactly.
Okay.
The problem is they didn't stick with it, and they kept taking him out of there. We need a defensive line. They must address this.
Oh, I don't disagree with you.
Putting up 20 points a game even when Stafford was out. 20
right,
points.
But listen. It doesn't matter if we get the defensive line. If he's just gonna rush 3, it don't matter. He had the highest rushing rate of 3 in all of the NFL. If he just gonna rush 3, what is Chase Young gonna do to change that?
How do you win in the NFL? How do you win football in the NFL?
Run the ball and play defense.
How do you win in the NFL? Run the ball and what else?
And play defense. That's it.
Stop the run. And get after the passer with the defensive line. How do your linebackers do well with the defensive line? How does your secondary do well with the defensive line? If we don't have a defensive line, we are not going to win football games.
I saw a lot of teams get to the quarterback in the playoffs and they lost.
Yeah, I seen the 49ers get after the quarterback and they got to the Super Bowl. I seen the Kansas City Chiefs get after the quarterback. They won the Super Bowl.
They ran their way there.
I seen the Tennessee Titans get after the quarterback. You've got to have a defensive line.
Go look at the Kansas City Chiefs games, and they had to come back in all those games because their defense wasn't doing nothing. The problem was that the other defense was touching their quarterback way too often. The only point I'm making to you is this. You don't take a guy that got question marks. He's already coming out with issues of having effort. Okay? I'm not taking a guy who lacks effort on the field. The tape tell me who he is. That's what I look at. I can care less about all the numbers. 16 and a half sacks, I don't care. I don't care. Because at the end of the day, where was he at against Michigan? Who's the great left tackle and right tackle and guards in Michigan that shut him out? See, this is what I don't understand.
Why don't you bring up his games where he was dominant? Well, I don't understand.
Let's bring up the games where he was dominant. What game you want to go to?
You want to go to any of the other ones besides the championship game and the one against Michigan?
So first, let me answer your question. The reason I don't bring up those games that he was dominant is because if you're dominant, I want to know that you were dominant against a real talented team. The teams he were dominant against were not talented.
Wisconsin wasn't talented.
Who?
Wisconsin.
Who was their quarterback?
They're still a dominant team. They're running.
Listen, they was a dominant team as a running team, and when they ran the ball on him, he was ineffective. When they stopped running the ball and the score got so crazy that they couldn't run it, and it was basically just sit and duck. I mean, so what? The first game that they had against them, they gave up on the run. The second game, they didn't give up on it until the score got crazy. If the score don't get crazy, they don't even have a chance with him. He was a non-factor in the second game against Wisconsin. Penn State.
All right. Okay. You know what? No, all right. You know what? I'm at the point where if you want to believe that, bro, you can believe that. Who's this magic tackle that you're taking, though, that hasn't had one missed game?
Well, I would take the Louisville tackle.
Louisville tackle?
Be kind. I'm terrible with names. Don't you kill me about it. I'm terrible with names. He hasn't had
one bad game?
He's had some bad games. I'm not going to act like he ain't had no bad game.
Why? Why did he have a bad game? He should be performing up to snuff against all talent.
Well, no. Here's what I'm pointing out to you. The difference between him and the difference between Chase Young. I didn't see him have effort issues. Chase Young got effort issues.
He just has talent issues?
Huh?
He just has talent issues?
Who, the tackle?
Yeah.
No.
If it wasn't his effort that was failing him, what was failing him? Must have been his talent then.
No, it wasn't none of that. The person was just a little bit faster than him and got a little step on him.
I'm just giving you shit, Luke, at this point.
I know. But I'm saying, Chase Young, to me, the effort is what scared the hell out of me. Anytime I see somebody who don't have that effort in college, it just always scares me and turns me off every time. It was one of the reasons why I knocked Greedy Williams. And I told everybody, you don't want Greedy Williams. And I had every person in this chat telling me we got to take Greedy Williams. And I said he refused to tackle. He lacks effort. I think I made almost a 30-minute video showing how pathetic he was acting in these games, where he was the best person in position to make the play, and he just like, no. So
yeah, I'm with you on Greedy Williams, yeah.
Yeah, to me, the effort is huge. Like I would rather like you remember Rudy? Rudy wasn't great, but goddamn, he had a lot of fighting effort. I'll take 13 Rudys over a guy with just natural talent because I need you to know that you need to fight every step of the way.
Well, again, they said that Deshaun Hand didn't have the aggressiveness and the ability to give all effort. That's why he was drafted in the 4th round coming into college. I think he was the number one prospect. So it just depends. John Kapler dropped a $2 super chat. Truly, truly appreciate it. Man, I appreciate it. It really helps. And it give the DSA and myself a better equipment to give you guys better stuff to listen to, whether you agree or disagree. Let's see in here. Now, this is an interesting fact. JMO's favorite player of all time, Mr. Tahir Whitehead, was released by the Las Vegas
I'm sorry.
Raiders.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Jim,
My bad. I thought it was funny.
what do you think about that, and do you want to pick him up?
Who'd you ask?
Tahir Whitehead.
No, I asked which person did you ask? I didn't hear who you asked.
You. I asked
Me.
you.
Okay, that's what I thought. So I want to make sure. That's a hell no. Pick him up. Let's see. We need a better linebacking core, right? So that's a no. Okay, everybody.
We good?
still
What
here.
happened? I think Mike has his mic muted or something like that.
No, that's all right. But
No,
yeah,
I thought Mike was gonna go, so my bad. No, but I'm in agreement with you.
Here we go. Here we go. John Kapler says Hand was awesome when he came into the lead. LMFAO. When he came into college, he was to be the number one recruit. But the reason he fell to the fourth round is because he did not put up great statistical numbers in college. One of the knock on him was that he did not give effort. Obviously, that worked out great for us because that lack of effort was BS. And he came in and he did a fantastic job for the Detroit Lions as a fourth round pick. I'm not saying he didn't do well on the Lions. I'm saying in college, he was touted as the number one prospect. When he went into college, he was told the reason why he fell to the fourth round, the reason why scouts did not pick him up before that is because they said he had lack of effort. So yes, crickets. I agree with you. What I was trying to say is just because they say that, it doesn't mean that's what he's going to be. And Deshaun Hand proved that.
No, listen, I get your point. I'm not going by what they say. I'm telling you what my eyes saw. I saw a guy who, for the most part, would lean against a player, and it wasn't because he was trying to keep contained. He just was like, oh, well, or a player a break. And I'm like, dude, keep pursuit because you never know what can happen. He just said, okay.
Now, Detroit Drew. Tahir Whitehead was released from the LA Vegas. What do you say, man? You want to pick him up?
No, I don't. Obvious reasons, but I'm actually surprised that the Raiders let him go. I thought he was a Gruden guy. I thought that the Raiders actually liked having him, especially watching him on Hard Knocks. They couldn't say enough things about him, so I'm actually surprised by this. But I am with Jim. Oh hell no on this one, man. I'll pass. Develop the young guys, and really, I'm not opposed to drafting one. Go get one in free agency. Do what you got to do, but Tahir. That's a no.
Okay, so you say no to Tahir. What say you, Real? You want to bring him back?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty obviously no for everybody on the panel. Like, he'll forever be a Lion, and we love him for that. But he's just not there right now for us.
I mean, is it just me or am I the only one who feel like Mike asking this question is like asking, do we all want crabs? Like, what are we supposed to do with this? Why would we even?
Hell no.
I mean, I'm just saying, like, why would we even consider or even question bringing Tahir Whitehead back? What is he going to do for us? I mean, what? Like, seriously, the same complaint that they had about Tahir Whitehead, they complain about Jared Davis. You might as well just pick up the 5th-year option of Jared Davis, and at least he's younger. But, I mean, I feel like this question is like asking us, like, do we want something we know we don't want? But I'm not mad at you, Mike. I'm just saying crafts don't sound good to me.
Hey, while you said that, I was itching myself.
I don't like
We all needed to know that.
All right, folks, this is your time to ask us questions. You ask, we shall answer. You can go ahead and throw it to all of us. You can single one of us out. Give us a question. It don't matter because we are here for you. It's all about Detroit Lions. It's all about one pride. And man, we want to hear it regardless of your feeling. You may agree, you may disagree, but guess what? I don't care. None of us care, because if we all agreed, that would be one bad thing, because groupthink never works. Peace and quiet. Hard Knocks this year. Now, this is interesting. Last year I said, hell no for Hard Knocks. It's a little different this year. I kind of want to see the Lions and Hard Knocks. I want to see inside of Ford Field. I want to see what the hell is taking place, because I'm curious. You hear Patricia. He seems very intellectual on the outside, but you hear rumors that this guy's a real prick on the inside. And I'm curious to see what's going on. Anyone
I agree.
else on here?
No, I agree. I think originally I didn't want to have it because I thought this team was able to be 11-5, but I got a lot of different reasons why I want this. One of the reasons I want this is because there are a lot of Lions fans who believe that the problem is Martha Ford and his ownership, and I want to see what they're really doing and what they have to say so when they don't. And secondly, since the Jets have done anything on Hard Knocks, and I'm kind of an anti-Matt Patricia guy. If anything that helps get him out of here, I'm cool.
I was the only guy on here last year who said I wanted it last year. I was ahead of that one for two reasons. One, you watched Cleveland; they got Hugh Jackson fired because of it, and then afterwards they went 7-8-1. I mean, they went 0-16 and improved by 7 games. I'm not saying we'll do that, but you got to see how much of an idiot he actually was. I want this. I want to see what's going on, because they got that. I don't know if you guys in the chat did it or anyone on the panel did it, but they kind of did half-ass this thing on their YouTube channel of making their own Hard Knocks. It was about 17 to 20 minutes last year, and they kind of did it, but with HBO doing it, they're actually inside the locker room. You get to hear what he's saying on the sidelines. You'll probably get to see him scratch his beard in high definition. So, I mean, you'll see all kinds of cool stuff that you never got to see before. You'll get to see him scratch his beard from all kinds of different angles.
That's what I need to see, man.
Jim, do you want to see us on Hard Knocks?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Jim.
Yeah, I do. Are they going to have Hard Knocks with all this coronavirus crap going around and all the things that they're saying?
I tell you what, when it comes to this coronavirus, guys, I work in the health industry. We think it's a joke. The physicians think it's a big joke. It's literally just a little stronger flu. Don't freak out about it. I think it's getting overblown. But
we're all going into hiding.
What's that?
I said we're all going into hiding.
Yeah, we're all going to be in a cave.
No, but I seriously, I do want to see it, because, I mean, there's such a disconnect between what we hear and what we actually get to see. And so they're kind of controlling the narrative, just like with the players. So I would really like to see it.
Real, you want to see us?
Oh yeah, man. I was saying this last year as well. I want to see them on Hard Knocks so bad. Like, it hurts, honestly. Like, I'm a huge movie and TV guy. And like, this would be on the top of my list of TV shows like to anticipate if the Lions are on it. I want to see them. I think the Lions are truly missing out by not making more content like this. Like, I think they should just cut the cable companies out, like completely F the TV deals, and make their own like streaming service type thing and put content like this on there for each team. And
I love that idea.
Yeah, I don't get why. Like, I live out of the state right now. I recently moved out of the state, and I have to buy Sunday ticket. I'm paying like $250 a month for my cable bill just so I can see the Lions. And like, I don't care about getting all the games, like, I just think that they're missing out a huge profit on making their own content and making their own streaming service. But
bro, you need to get the
my job.
Red Zone. You definitely need to get that.
Well, that I don't want to just see the Lions when they're in the red zone, though.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Agree.
I want to see the whole game.
Thankfully, last year you've seen us more in the red zone. If KFC was back there, you wouldn't be seeing Lions at all. John Kapler says, "Who are your comeback players on offense and defense?" No doubt about it, defensive player Deshaun Hand. I seen him last year. I said, "Hey, you going to the Pro Bowl?" I think I screwed him there. I think I screwed him up and jinxed him. I think he's going to come back and do a fantastic job on that defensive line, and I'm excited to see it. When it comes to offense, Matthew Stafford, I think he's going to be fully healthy. I think he'll do 16 games. Let's see here. If I miss your question, just repost it. Question says, has Luke been drinking Flint water? Luke, have you been drinking the Flint water?
No. Now listen, PC Payload and everybody on here know that I generally say things that's not popular. But I don't go for popular. I go for logic. and I go for what's in the best interest of the team. I can care less if it's going to be a popular opinion and get kudos. Hell, I'm taking heat for saying I don't like Matt Patricia. So, I mean, this is nothing new. I took heat for saying we were taking the tight end. So I just look at it and I say, what gives us the best chance? I have to go and look at it and say, if I got to figure out where I'm going to put my hat on, I still want to keep it in the trenches. I just said, go to the offensive lineman.
Hey, just so you know, Luke, Flintwater is not all that bad, man.
Listen, I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you.
Gosh.
Thank you.
Kool-Aid and Cornbread, $5 super chat. He says, thanks for making work go a lot faster. Man, it's our pleasure, and I'm glad you're enjoying the content. Again, I truly appreciate it. It means a lot, man. It means a lot. Let me see. If I miss a question again, come jump back in here. Who are you taking in the second and third round of the draft? Well, if you looked at my mock draft, in my mock draft, it just depends because there's different scenarios. But in the second round, I have the Lions taking a guard. And in the third round, I think, who did I have taken? I think I had them taking the defensive end, Willikis from the Spartans. I think that's who I had. What say you guys? Anyone on here who you want to take in the second and third rounds? Yep.
You guys know I like Jonathan Taylor, so I'm just going to leave it there for the second round.
Okay. I can see that. But for the third, who you thinking? What position?
Yep, I'm going offensive line in the third round. I know you're going first round, but I'm going kind of a reverse.
I'm not going first. I'm saying
Luke's draft is now O-line.
Listen, because they spit hot fire. I'm just saying, but no, listen.
I get you in a corner, man. That's how we're doing it. I was just kidding.
No, I put it like this. It's like I said, I'm only saying if Isaiah Simmons is not there. In my first mock draft, I did Isaiah Simmons in the first. Obviously, in the second round, I did Antoine Winfield. And the reason I did Antoine Winfield is because I'm trying to shore up that defense in a way that makes it more challenging for other teams. And then the third, I actually believe I went offensive lineman in the third of my mock draft with Badias or however you pronounce his name from
I'm just kidding.
Yeah. So so that's how I did my mock draft. But again, I would be willing to take 2 offensive linemen this draft. Yes, I would.
I would willing to take 2 offensive linemen, just not first round. I think if you can get guard in the second round and maybe take a developmental player later on, kind of like we did with Crosby a couple years ago, I think that'd be a good idea. Now, Jeremy Rothwell says, where will the Lions go for running back, draft, or free agency? Real. I'm going to throw this one to you.
I'm the wrong person to throw this to because I don't want a running back. I don't want the Lions to spend any capital on a running back. Veteran minimum deal would be fine or something similar to that. Like I know that Andrew always says to get Jordan Howard, and he'd be pretty damn cheap. So I think I'd be okay with that. Other than that, I don't really want anybody. I really am not trying to use any draft capital at all.
Yeah, I like Jonathan Taylor. So I'm going to keep sticking with what I like.
Right. Tell them, Jim. They're not listening. You said it once, Jonathan Taylor, a.k.a. JT. Tell them again, man. They're not listening.
That's all right. That's all right. We have a lot of players that aren't dynamic. And that to me, that's the way it is. And you guys may disagree with me, whatever. Bo Scarborough wasn't in a situation that he's running for a playoff game. I know Jonathan Taylor isn't that either yet, but I see a lot more potential in him than I do Carry-On or Bo or any of those guys. Carry-On's injured too much for me. He's an injury-prone running back.
Facts.
And Bo Scarborough, to me, is unproven. This guy's getting 2,000 yards a season. Okay? He gets half that. We got a 1,000-yard running back. 1,000-yard running back with Matthew Stafford. That's a pretty good recipe right there.
And
Jim, talk to him, Jim.
We can't have that. We can't go into this season with injury-prone back. You have to run the football. You must. That's how you win. You run the football and stop the run. For me, this is the most difficult when it comes to a mock draft and when it comes to this. It took me hours to figure out or think about, should the Lions take a running back in the second round or should we do in free agency? I killed over this one. And to me, it's 49% to 51% that that they can go either way. They can go in free agency, get a running back in there, the guy from Arizona who played with the Miami Dolphins, or they could go ahead and draft one. I don't know what they're going to do. 49% of me says they'll take one in the draft, 51% of free agency. If I had a pick, we all know who I want. I want Derrick Henry, favorite player. I would do whatever I can to get him. If they don't franchise him, I would do everything in my power to get that man on this team. They are not going to do that, though. So, unfortunately for me, it'll probably be 209. And I swear, if it's Deion Lewis, I am going to freaking get really upset. I don't want to see that man in the Honolulu blue and silver.
I don't think anybody does, but I don't think there's anyone here that does.
Let's see what okay, if this one's to Luke G. What free agent is realistic that the Lions can pick up, Luke G?
A realistic free agent that the Lions can pick up. I got a few. And I think they will target these people. I think Ted Carr is going to probably be a constellation prize if we can't get Joe Tunney. I think that they will also look in the direction of God, what is his name? Byron Jones is a very strong possibility. I even Everett Griffin, I think he's a strong possibility. And then Laquan Treadwell, wide receiver, is a strong possibility. Corey Davis, wide receiver, is a strong possibility. Although his probability went down a little bit with Danny Amendola, but I still think he's a strong possibility. You got to look with the Lions this year. They're going to target one or two people, big contracts, and everybody else they're going to fill it in. So.
Yep.
This is the name that not a lot of people like, but I'm going to tell you, I give it a 99.9% chance they're going to sign, and that's Chris Harris, the cornerback from the Denver Broncos. I've been talking about this for a while, ever since last year's trade deadline. We tried to trade for him. Our defensive coach coached him. Our defensive assistant played with him. The connection is there. I expect Chris Harris to be a Detroit Lion, and to me, that's a damn near lock. So,
yeah, I was putting that at a lock at first, Mike, until I started looking at some of the different feeds at how hard they were pushing for Byron Jones.
Hey, I'll take Byron Jones all day over Chris Harris for sure, no doubt about it. Yeah. He's younger, he's better. If they can do that to me, that would be an awesome signing.
Yeah, if you want to talk about improving the offensive line, I look at Jack Conklin too.
Oh yeah,
I don't know if we can get him. I mean, you said
I don't think he hit the market. I think they're gonna give a deal to Derrick Henry, and they'll come with a deal for Conklin. I don't think he's gonna hit the market.
Motor City Thanos, this is the perfect question for the perfect time, and we're gonna get an answer directly from the source very, very soon, and that will be on Jim's channel. It says, what does the Lions record have to be for Patricia to keep his job? In your opinion, the whole panel. I'll have Jim go last because we're going to get this answer to you very, very soon. My opinion is they have to make the playoffs or they're out, because I believe what Dave Burkett says. Not only did I listen to him, but I looked at his facial expression. He was on the bandwagon to fire Patricia. He was in the room with Martha and Sheila Ford, and he was extremely adamant that it's playoffs or bust. What say you, Real?
I think it's 10 wins. I think 10 wins, because if you get 10 wins and you don't make the playoffs, I just think that they have enough of an argument to do it. Not that I agree with that, but I think that's the case. I think that Martha Ford, even though she's putting this on them, I think she wants a reason to keep them because I think she likes them.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree with you on that.
Are we talking what I think they need to go, or
what you expect? Not for what we want, but what you expect is going to take place.
I expect them to do about 6-10, realistically.
So if they go 6-10, or is Patricia gone?
See, that's it, man. I don't know, because I don't trust what they're laying down. I don't trust what they're saying, because they went all in on this Bob Quinn, Matt Patricia scheme, and it hasn't even remotely come close to working yet. So, I mean, how dedicated are they? How much of a smokescreen is this to being a win now season? I don't know. I think in order for him to keep his job, he has to go 9-7 at the very least. Anything below that in 3 years is unacceptable since they're supposed to be better than 9-7, and they haven't been. So I think realistically they're going to be 6-10. Now that's before we talk draft and free agency. So I mean that could change to 8 wins. Not very high on what I've seen from this team so far. And I'm not going to go out there and say they're going to win 9, 10, or 11 games like we did last year because they just haven't shown me enough. I think he needs to win at least 9 to keep his job.
Okay, Luke, I know you're the pessimist here, so I'll have you go next. And then Jim, I can't wait for his answer because we have a good update on to get you this answer straight from the source. So go ahead, Luke.
I don't think the number matters. I think if they make the playoff and they do it by winning the division and they win a division 9-7, that right there to the Detroit Lions is improvement. Oh, we won a division with something we ain't did in a long time, and we 9-7. I believe they go 8-8, make the playoffs. But they was competitive in those 8 games like they were in all these other games. Even though they lost, I think they still come back. I think the only thing that gets them fired if he has an extremely slow start. He start off 0-4, 1-6, he out of here. But if he just enough to do something that they can look at and hang their hat on and say, look, he improved. Like it's hard to improve for 3 wins. Yeah, I think he stays.
Now, Jim, we'll give your prediction, but then you can tell the folks that we're going to get this answer because this is my number one question. Tell the folks how we're going to get this answer and what to expect because we're supposed to do it on Sunday, but we had technical issues.
Yeah, I was supposed to have Dave Burkett on Sunday and just ran it. I know how to hook all the things up, but we ran into a situation where we just didn't have what we needed to have him on by phone. Because last time we had him on, he was on through Skype. And so this time he couldn't do that. It was just a situation where we had an issue there, but not having the inside knowledge because I don't. I'm just letting people know that right now. I think it's contingent. I don't think it's a number. I think it's okay if Stafford goes down, and they have a bad season because all these injuries again. I think they'll give them another chance. I really do. Also, if they're in the hunt, like we're in December and we're playing meaningful games, I think that will get them to stay as well because I agree with Real on this. I believe that they want to keep them.
Okay, I like it, and expect that to happen soon.
Yeah,
on
it's going to be
channel.
tough for him in the next couple of weeks just because of everything going on, free agency and everything he's got to do. So I got to talk to him again and see when he's open again.
And it's a perfect time for me to say, make sure you subscribe to his channel, Real's channel, Detroit Drew, and Luke's channel. Subscribe to their channels because we have a lot of content coming out, and it's not necessarily going to be on just my channel. You're going to have the round table on Jim's channel. You're going to have it on Real's channel, Detroit Drew's channel. You're going to have special events to where it's not going to be round tables. So you need to subscribe to their channels and don't miss out. The last question here, because it's getting late. And again, it's a super chat from Royal Kush 123. Appreciate it, man. Awesome. He says, do the Lions keep or cut Wagner and or Glasgow? I will start this off. Glasgow is gone because we basically found that out today. I think Wagner is we got to keep on. I think they eventually do keep him, but he could get cut. What say you, Drew?
I think we'll keep Wagner. Obviously, Glasgow's gone. I don't see a reason to create another hole right now. I'd keep Wagner right now.
Okay. We'll go Real.
Yeah, Glasgow's gone, unfortunately, in my opinion. I liked him. But Wagner, see, like he's just not like I want to keep him. You know what? I'm just gonna answer quickly. We're gonna keep both of them.
Whoa,
okay. Jim.
I don't think we're keeping Glasgow for sure, of course, because they don't want him. I mean, they haven't even offered him a contract.
I misspoke. I meant
no, you're
we're
okay.
gonna lose Glasgow. Yeah, no. Sorry about that.
Yeah, no big deal. It's just giving my opinion here, and they got so many holes. They probably keep Wagner, but I think they get 6.1 million on him. If I'm not mistaken, if they cut him, his play is pretty much trash. I mean, to me, I don't know. There's so many holes in this team.
Yeah,
but I'm saying I'll go this way.
But Jim, we can't take no tackle in the first round. God forbid.
Yeah, we definitely ain't taking no
God
right
forbid.
Yeah, but we could get Conklin in free agency. No, I'm kidding. If he's available, that's what I'm doing, and I'm cutting Wagner, and that's going to be a big price tag, and I realize that. But I'm with Luke G on this one. We got to solidify one side of the ball at least, and then and do what we can on defense. I'm sorry, this team is so far away, in my opinion. There's just too many holes. That's the way.
Yeah, agree.
All right, Luke. About those two, what do you think?
Well, obviously, GG out of here. So, and you can't cut Wagner. You just can't. Now, losing Wagner, whether people believe it or not, would be a bigger loss than Glasgow. And I agree with Jim that Wagner has been a bit of a disappointment for us. But he would still be a bigger loss than Glasgow. At least Rick Wagner can move a person in blocking. But he gets beat by some of the speedier, more craftier dudes. And plus, I think it's the way that they utilize him in the blocking. But I think he stays, and then obviously GG's out of here.
All right, folks. It has been an hour and 41 minutes, and at this point, I got to get up in the morning because I got to work insane for a shift, so it's time for last words. Detroit Drew, what do you got to say to the folks?
It just baffles me every time we come on here and talk about a team that only won 3 games last year and have almost 100 people in there at one point in time. It is just mind-blowing. Detroit really has the best fans. They're supportive, win, lose, or draw. So thank you, everybody in the chat, for rocking out. Great show, fellas. Glad to be a part of it.
All right, Jim, what you got to say?
I want everybody to hit the like button for sure. Subscribe to everybody in the DSA. I want to say, you know what? I agree with Drew because we have been through so much with this team that everybody just keeps showing out. We keep studying film. We keep looking at what's going on. We're excited about free agency and things like that. It's amazing to me how these people just stick with our team like we do. And anybody says any bandwagon to any of you guys, and we know for sure you've been here through the thick and thin.
That's complete fact squared right there. Real, what do you got to say to the folks?
I want to say I appreciate everybody in the chat. I love you guys. It's been a great show. I'm glad I could jump on real quick. But I do want to say, last thing is that, we have different opinions, and I respect all your guys' opinion, but I just disagree with the fact that we have a million holes on our team that we're so far away. I think we are in a position that we are this offseason away from being a contender in this league, even with Patricia. And so I just want to leave everybody with that positivity because I feel like everybody else on the at least Luke and Jim, you guys seem very down on the team, and I just don't feel that way. So I just want to leave everybody with that positivity. But thank you all.
And whatever you're having, I want some too.
I know, right? Can I get a hit of that? Can I get a hit of that?
There was 500 people that drunk Kool-Aid 30 years ago, and it was Jim Jones Kool-Aid. So we just got to be very, very careful.
Gotta be careful. Just take the blue kind. That's better.
Luke, man, what you got to say to the folks?
Hey, as always, this is fun. Yes. If y'all ever came to a show and every day we agreed, something wrong, okay? There has to be some type of confusion. It is because we all are free thinkers and we have our own mind of how things should be and where they should go. And so we want to make sure we respect that. But let me just say this. Today's positive message comes from one Mr. Luke G himself. And it's about you guys, the subscribers, because not only do you guys rock, not only are you guys awesome, not only are you guys amazing, and let me be clear, when I say you guys, I'm generalizing because there's some ladies in this chat as well. It's just simply a joy to have us all come together as a community, whether we agree or disagree. I see it in the chat. I see it here on the panel. And we walk away at the end of the day still happy, still loving each other, and still ready for some football. So with that being said, to the real MVPs, our subscribers, we appreciate you. And as always, make sure you subscribe to all the members of the DSA. And don't be no chump. Please do your research.
Very humbling that everybody came out. Again, killing the numbers. So awesome. Next week on Free Agency Day, jump on my channel, 3 p.m. Eastern Time. I am going live for the free agency friendly. I believe the Dern's going to be in with us, as well as other people that can get in there. I needed this. This has been an extremely long week for me personally. Man, I needed this. It's been a long week. You have no idea, but I need to have a little bit of fun and get some joy going on. So I truly, truly appreciate that you guys gave myself some personal joy and something to smile about. I'm not sure what channel the roundtable is going to be on. It could be Thursday, 8 p.m. on Luke's channel. I believe so, possibly. If not,
Yep, I'm good for Thursday. Yep.
Okay, so it'll be on Luke's channel, 8 p.m. Thursday. Don't miss out. Don't miss out, because guess what? The tags are coming in, and guess what? The ability to free agents talk to other teams for the legal tampering is near. So there's going to be rumors flying, and we're going to have a lot of fun. Royal Kush, you dropped another super chat. You are the absolute freaking awesome best. 123. I appreciate it. I'm glad you're Royal Kush 123, not 209. I hate that number now. But hey, man, have a good night. Get some good sleep. We're getting ready for some fun, and it's near the end. With that said, folks, adios.